those things. One designer for me, Markus Heinsdorf, who actually designed the German-Chinese house, is renowned for using bamboo and incorporating it with other materials such as stainless steel and really pushing it to its full potential in terms of what can be made from it. And so I actually got to meet Marcus. I actually went all the way to Anji County, which is quite off the beaten track, to meet up with him, and then I didn't get the chance. He just left a day earlier. And then I got to meet him in Shanghai. He actually came to the exhibition because there was another chap who was from Germany as well, who was another designer working with bamboo, working on the Bamboo Museum in Anji County. And these are just some pictures of the pavilions. The Danish one, that was the first one I got to go into, so I actually got to go on a bike and ride around it, which is quite cool. And there wasn't too much of a queue. I think there was like 20 minutes because a lot of people were quite elderly and didn't actually want to go on a bike to get around it. So there's quite a lot of young people who were wanting to get onto this, and as I say, it was quite quick to get into. And these, as I say, the types of queue, it's interesting the crowd control that goes on, like how they actually control a crowd that may last 3 to 5 hours. And I think the German pavilion, the thing about Expo was that it was cheaper to go at night time, and a lot of people couldn't afford to actually get in there because of obviously the medium wage in China at the time. And so at night time, the queues would get 5 to 6 hours, and I think they announced that there's going to be a queue that's that long to get into some of these pavilions, and I think you just give up because it's just far too long to wait to get into them. Now getting on to, I guess, after the Expo, this is, for me, I guess, was some holy pilgrimage to actually about bamboo and to know more about bamboo and how it's cultivated. In Anji County, there's a major growing area called the Bamboo Ocean. It's actually featured in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And I actually caught the high-speed train, which was in its first week of operation. So it reaches speeds of about 350 kilometres an hour, which is kind of pretty freaky, but you only notice it when you actually are travelling beside a highway and you see all the cars just slowly go past you, and then you realise you're actually travelling quite fast. And then I got 3 different cabs to go from Hangzhou out to Anji. And the greatest learning experience for me was that I didn't know that much Chinese, and a lot of the cab drivers didn't know that much English. And so I had this simple character that said Anji written on there, and I had to show every single cab driver. And I remember the cab driver that actually got me there said, "Would you like to go by the mountain way?" I said, "Okay, that's fine. I'm not sure what the mountain way is." But we had all these really close calls, and we were driving at literally, at literally 100 kilometres an hour. And there was people beside the roads with dog beside the road. There was bamboo just strewn across the roads, and I thought, am I actually going to live through this and tell the tale? And then he got out, halfway through to take a leak halfway through it, and I thought, okay, this is normal. And then, and so yeah, it was quite an interesting trip to get out there, and I think this was all done in one day. So I finally got there, and I remember actually there was a map written in Chinese without any pictures, but I'd seen this one picture on the left, and for a lot of designers that use bamboo, it's featured on a lot of websites, and so again, it's this holy pilgrimage to actually get to this place for a lot of designers that use bamboo. And I remember pointing to the map to the concierge in the hotel, and he said, "Yeah, I think that's the place. That's called the Bamboo Forest and whatnot." And I finally got out there, and it was the place, and I think it's amazing. This is actually Moso, the species that's used in all my pieces, and it grows to about 35 metres in height. And so the growing cycle is about 5 to 6 years, so it's a rapidly renewable material. And in terms of visiting this and seeing it and learning about bamboo, I think there wasn't that much information there to actually learn anything, but it's to actually experience that tactile experience and basically pardon the pun, but get to the grassroots of that material that I've been using for so long. And from Anji County, I made my way back to Hangzhou to a company called DMVP Bamboo. They're actually in collaboration with Moso Bamboo and Daso Bamboo, produce high-quality FSC ISO certified bamboo products. They're the world leaders in terms of bamboo carpentry products. And the great thing about this was I got to see firsthand the production processes, the quality control, what goes on. I think being in Australia and using the material, the hardest thing was to actually get information on it. How was it grown? How was it processed? What were the quality control measures? And I really needed to know that in order to inform, I guess, the people that buy my products and to actually have some sort of sincerity and knowledge of the product as well. The companies or the clients they actually make products for include Microsoft, as well as BMW, Dell, and a whole range of other major companies. So with their products, they do anything from cross-laminated boards up to veneers, and they're currently looking at textiles and also MDF boards. And for me, I think it was learning about the processes and bringing that knowledge back to Australia. There's actually a group of farmers based in Taree that actually have a startup bamboo commercial crop. So they're looking at bringing that online in the next 3 to 5 years, so there will be Australian-made bamboo products. And the biggest question about bamboo currently is the embodied energy in terms of the freight and bringing it from China to Australia, and that's the biggest thing I get asked by clients. What about the embodied energy? And to some extent it is offset by the fact that it is a renewable material, but it really needs to be an endemic crop. So there are 3 endemic species that we can use in Australia to actually make the same products. But again, it's about the cost, the startup cost, and also it's really that chicken before egg scenario where people have to want and have knowledge about the product before producers are willing to invest that money and actually make it. Shanghai, to me it seemed quite a transient city in terms of, I guess, the eclectic nature of it and the design of it. I think the Pudong site only 15 years ago was farming land, and now it's these huge, magnificent architectural buildings, and including the Pearl Centre and the Shanghai World Commercial Centre. And the great thing about it, there's this juxtaposition across the river of the colonial architecture, and then you've got the French concession. So in terms of the actual building aesthetic, there's so many chops and changes and so many elements to it. And I think even though Shanghai is a city of 20 million people, there is still quite intimate spaces and an intimate feeling to it. The actual centre picture on the left is the Shanghai Exhibition Centre. So that was a Sino-Soviet building. So it was built in 1954, and it was a present to the Chinese from Russia at the time, interestingly enough, a communist building to promote industry. And it's actually situated on capitalist land. And it's such, as I say, this is quite an eclectic building in terms of it's quite ornate compared to the other architecture that's in Shanghai. At the time also there was the 8th Shanghai Biennale that was on, so the piece on the right is one of the bamboo structures or external installations, and I guess this is quite from one extreme to the other. This is the Shanghai World Financial Centre foyer, and that's actually using bamboo, and building was done by DMVP Bamboo. So going from a traditional use of bamboo to quite a modern application. So for me, actually visiting Shanghai, it gave me all these different perspectives on, again, that material that I'd been using for so long. And these are the constellation lights in situ at the exhibition at 100% Design Shanghai. And the great thing about being there at the Futures section was to actually interact and network with designers who are from that region. And currently I'm talking with Michael Chung about collaborating on some bamboo pieces. He's actually based in Hong Kong, and he actually has worked with Michael Young. I'm not sure whether Michael Young actually did all the art direction for 100% Futures. And so we're talking about doing different small-scale bamboo pieces, and also whether these pieces can actually be retailed in Hong Kong. So for me, it was about going there and, again, looking at the modern applications of bamboo and informing people about the socially and environmentally aware aspects of it. And that's the end of it. I'd just like to thank Arts Queensland for their support, and also InDesign Live and ABC Radio National. And yeah, thanks a lot for coming along today. Thanks.